As soon as I turned
almost 50.
As soon as I turned 30, I felt like I was like pushing 40. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Such is life.
Yeah, such is life.
C'est la vie. Okay, so we have the YouTube up. We have the Hello Talk up. And yeah, I talked to Hello Talk yesterday about the difference in the live streams and the voice rooms, like the numbers. There are a few reasons why, but they're actually not entirely sure why either. And so
people maybe just people like them.
I don't know, but I'm going to start asking.
Yeah,
I want to start getting numbers and then getting a poll of like, what's the deal? Why do you prefer the voice room to the live stream?
Yeah.
What is it about the live stream?
Do they allow polls on your posts on Hello Talk?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
They don't have their own system.
Right, that's what that's what I was kind of looking for.
That would be cool.
But, like a Reddit or something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a good idea. I can make a suggestion about that, though, too, that you guys should include some polls. I don't know. Do you guys have any comments about that before we start talking about fun ways to learn English? What is it? Why do you guys prefer voice rooms instead of live streams? Or do you prefer live streams instead of voice rooms? When I do a voice room, I get a lot more people.
Yeah.
When I do a live stream, I might get between 30 and 100. But when I do a voice room, I do 100 to 200, maybe 300. And I might have 200 new followers.
Right.
So I'm very curious. I'm trying to understand what is it about the voice rooms that are so much better. Is it the quality? Is there like a better quality of the audio, or is it because there's more opportunity for people to go on stage? So you think that you're going to get a chance to talk, a better chance to talk?
Maybe there's like a less formality to it, sort of.
I thought
there's
that,
kind
or
of
just
like
less
that.
intimidating because there's no camera.
That too, exactly. Yeah, not that you have to be on camera to talk to us on the live stream.
Exactly. Which is why, again, I don't really understand it. I prefer to see you on camera because I like to make connections with people that way. But you don't have to. I don't insist that you have the camera on. It would be nice if everybody did, I think, but I understand why some people don't. But Amir doesn't like voice rooms. You want to see people talking. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Anybody else want to tell me why do you prefer live streams or why do you prefer voice rooms? And then we'll get started with English topics. Hello, Mona, over in there.
Hi,
live streams
Mona.
are much better, Mona says.
Okay.
Right, so I think so,
So we've got
too.
2 for live streams. We're in a live stream, though, so that might be skewing the data.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I'm waiting for somebody who can tell me why they prefer voice rooms.
Yeah, and she did join the voice room, too.
Yeah, I mean, I made a post last night before my live stream, and I asked, do you want a voice room or do you want a live stream? And only a couple people replied, but there were 2 votes for voice room and 1 vote for live stream. So it was very strange. I just don't understand.
Lynn prefers live.
Lynn also prefers live. Okay. Shyness. But again, you don't have to have the camera on, so there's no difference, really.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I'm not sure I get it.
I wonder if there's just some psychological aspect to it. Like, being face-to-face means more like commitment as opposed to just looking at text. I don't know. And hearing a voice.
Yeah, but
it feels more familiar on a phone to just hear a voice. I'm just thinking of random, completely unproven with no evidence.
And Valentino also says I prefer live streams because I can see the host's face.
Yeah, that's how I like to watch. I listen to podcasts too, though.
It's also important because for you, from an ESL standpoint, if you see the mouth, it's better for you.
I agree with that.
You can see the motion of my mouth. That's important, right? Sometimes when I do a voice room and I'm trying to explain something about pronunciation, it's really hard because I can't show you my mouth, right? So anyway,
Salmoni
says voice rooms better. Why do you think Why do you think voice rooms are better, Salmoni? Why? I just struggle to understand, like, what.
Well, I can see why,
quality-wise.
maybe not quality wise. I can see why some people might like it better just to listen and.
But you can listen here too.
Yeah,
Again,
you can. I don't.
It's like I said. It's very. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, you can't always just set the phone down.
The quality of my video is not like before. Maybe it's my connection. No, Mona, the quality of the video is because I'm trying something new. I have a little lens on top of my webcam today, right? So normally the Hello Talk view, the camera view is so limited.
We've got to get like really close together.
We have to be like that
Yeah.
all the time, right? So I tried this to put a lens on the camera to give a wider angle, but the lens is not the best and maybe not big enough, and so it's a little blurry. But I'm going to try to get a different lens and try the same trick. But the trick works. At least you can see both of us without us feeling like we're, crowding each other. So, yeah, it's a little blurry. I can see it, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay for now, at least. Charlie, we are from Cincinnati, Ohio, or roughly nearby.
Yes. The greater Cincinnati metropolitan area.
And yes, Amir, I plan on asking tonight on my voice room, I plan on asking them the same question. Why do you prefer voice rooms instead of live streams? Okay, so we can talk about two things now, okay? So the second topic for today, or the main topic for today, is fun ways to learn English. So we can do two things. You can tell us your fun ways to learn English, or we can tell you our fun ways to learn English. Okay? Both would be fine. But you can also tell me why you prefer a live stream or why you prefer a voice room. I would really like to know.
Yeah.
It will help me a lot. And Hello Talk wants to know too.
Yeah, really.
They've been trying to fix this problem for about a year. And they've given up, essentially. They told me that they've given up and that they're just focusing on the voice rooms more now because there's not enough people.
Well, and it's strange because live streaming in general is such a popular form of media.
Yeah, much more so than I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
and Discords are popular, but it's not quite the same.
I don't think it's.
thing.
Yeah, I've never done those, so I don't really know. So I don't know.
And Discord's more of like a big channel for something where you go in and you can, it's different.
Whereas this is kind of random.
Right.
Yeah. Doris says maybe some people don't want to show their face, but again, you don't have to show your face, Doris. You can just turn the camera off. I do it for many people. I turn the camera off.
Not everyone's got a killer smile.
That's right. And yes, if we do a live stream, which is on YouTube, and I also do a podcast as well. But, the definition of podcast has actually changed. Because when it started, it was all audio.
Right.
And now
there's audio, video, and now there's just like audio versions of video things that are called a podcast.
Right. So there are some people who are doing an audio podcast, but they just have a camera up.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Like in this studio or something, So that's kind of what we're doing. It's a pod stream. A pod stream. That's
a pod stream.
Yeah, it's a pod stream. All right. Your fun way to learn English is to listen to music. Okay, good. That's a good way.
Yeah, that's a good way.
That's a good way. Learning English with music can be great. However, there are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind.
Don't listen to Pearl Jam.
Yeah, right. Or early Bob Dylan, or who else? Do we put on that category?
Oh, there's a lot. Black Sabbath,
Tom
probably.
Waits.
Tom Waits.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Any of the death metal bands, probably not a good thing. But songs can be good. However, you also need to remember that music and songs are more like poetry, which means they don't have to follow any grammar rules at all, right? So that's the one main thing to remember when you study English using music. You have to remember that
there's emphasis on things that there wouldn't be, and things like this.
Right, or they don't care about punctuation. They don't care about structure or grammar or anything like that. Right? They might use slang terms that are very inappropriate in a formal setting. Just keep that in mind. If you're learning, English from songs, you might find some words or phrases that are not really grammatically correct. I think
that direction of entertainment and English learning is a good, to learn from something that's engaging and entertaining. Maybe not always music, but
for example, there's a famous old jazz song. It's kind of jazz. What is that? I think it was Dr. John. Is you is or is you ain't my baby.
Yeah.
And that's some terrible grammar, but it's a cool song. Is you is or is you ain't my baby, and
it takes context to understand, too.
That's right.
The whole time.
It don't
and everything.
mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Right? So ain't not a proper thing, but we use it.
And where I'm from, it's ubiquitous, which is maybe it's everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. So the point is that songs are a great way to learn English, but you just need to remember that it's not following any rules, so you might need to check to see if those things are appropriate to use in an actual written or spoken context formally. Okay?
And then once you're at native level, you can start to try to decipher what Eddie Vedder is saying.
Yeah, right.
And Pearl Jam.
Yeah, right.
I do love Pearl Jam, though.
Did you ever hear the funny story about, the Phil Collins song, Studio?
Yeah.
They were writing the song, they were in the studio, and this is what singers do often. When they're writing a song, they just mouth use something. Right?
Yeah,
And that's what they ended up keeping.
That's hilarious.
so for the whole 80s, everybody was singing that like it meant something.
Yeah, and it was just
nothing. It meant nothing at all. Yeah, there is no such thing as studio. And I remember looking it up. Like, what is a studio? What is a studio? I have no idea. What is a studio?
Even we get tricked by music. So that's right. That's where there's a little danger in that.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Let's see. Mona says, I try to pay attention to your mouth movements. That's why I like live streams. Friend of mine is native. She always says she don't. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's one that,
you'll hear it. It's not proper.
It's not proper. No. And your mom should probably correct you and probably would,
and I would say don't say it like that.
Yeah, I would too. I would not recommend that you repeat those mistakes. So those are things that we that fall into a category of they are absolutely mistakes. They are not correct. However, they become colloquially popular
regionally.
Right. And so what happens is there is what we call a tacit acceptance of them, right? Yes. Tacit meaning not exactly complete or willing, but just like
understood.
You understood it, right? You went along with it, right? It's a tacit compliance with whatever it is.
No, rarely would anyone say anything to you about
That's right.
it,
Unless you're in a school or something.
If you're in a school,
they're going to correct you.
They are going to correct
you. And they
Certainly.
should.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, if you're in a school, they will correct you.
But I don't encourage it. I think that all I require is that an adult have a 8th grade level of English.
Yeah.
And 8th graders should know the difference between your, Y-O-U-R, and Y-O-U-R apostrophe E, or Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, sorry, and T-H-E-R-E, and T-H-E-I-R, and T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. Those are basic things. That's not. I'm not asking a lot.
Well, and the one that really gets me is, and I generally am not a big grammar police, but
me neither.
The one that gets me is the would of.
Oh yeah, right. Would have instead of would have.
Would
right?
have. Yeah.
And I caught myself doing one just the other day. A whole nother.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, and that one's hard. That
yeah.
one's really hard to get rid of. We say a whole nother thing. And that
we're
think
like
that
splitting the word is kind of what we're doing.
I think that one I would consider to be a colloquial accepted thing. Like, you know, again, like even in a formal context, if I was in a classroom, if I were in a classroom saying that, I don't think anybody would actually correct that.
I guess it would depend on the person, probably, but the teacher. But I would think in most cases,
I think only real grammarians would probably stop that one. You know,
Latin school.
Right. But you know, anyway. For example, when I was a boy, they said, "How are you doing?" And you could say, "I'm well," and "I'm well" was the only correct answer. And when I was taught that you cannot say "I'm good," but we do now.
Yes,
and it's in the books. It's written down now as a rule that you can say "I'm good" and it's okay now.
Or the "May I go to the bathroom?"
Right.
Because if you say "Can I go to the bathroom?"
It's asking
can you?
That's exactly right. Yeah, right. I still correct that one.
Yeah.
So, anyway, a whole nother, which means another, right?
Yes.
So, it's a weird thing we do. If we say that's a whole nother thing, it means that's another thing. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
That's all it means. Where it comes from, who knows? You know. Yeah, those things I think are almost etymologically impossible to find how they were created. You know, ain't, you know, who knows who was the first person to put that together?
And ain't it?
You know, who knows? Those are organically created, you know. Okay, let's see. We've got some comments and questions here. Let's catch up here. They have a lot more structure to their sentences with one direction. Charlie, I'm not sure what you're referring to anymore. Charlie, what were you referring to in your comment about structure and sentences with one direction? I'm sorry. I think I lost the plot, as we say. Hello, Fair. Thank you for the gifts, by the way, everyone. What's the difference between willing and helping?
There's a lot.
So helping is a general term that just means help, right? I am helping.
Yes.
I'm giving you help, right?
If you've fallen down, I help you up.
Yeah.
I'm helping.
Willing means your willingness to do something. I am willing to help you means I will help you. I agree.
Your enemy may not be willing to help you.
That's right. So if you do something agreeably, you do something and you want to, then you are willing, right?
Yes.
If you are unwilling, it means you don't want to do that thing, right? You don't agree, you don't want to. That's the difference. Helping, I'm helping or I'm not helping. That's just very simple. Okay? Hello, Ali. One Direction is a group. Yes, I do know that.
I didn't know.
Is he talking about the music of One Direction? Oh, I think he is. He's saying they have a lot more structure to the sentences with One Direction. So I'm not familiar with One Direction at all, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
That may or may not be true.
Yeah.
But still, regardless, Charlie, music just doesn't have the same restrictive rules of grammar. So you might find some bands whose lyrics follow much more closely to what the grammar rules truly are.
And that you could listen to.
And then you find some bands, like one of my favorite bands is a band called Soul Coughing. And their singer, it's almost like Jack Kerouac. It's like freedom of consciousness, you know, like free thought thinking, just like words come out that don't have any real meaning whatsoever, or they mean whatever you want them to mean, you know? So, and they're both fine. You know, they're different. It's art. You have to remember it's art. You know, you can't put the rules of grammar on art. That's the point right there. Okay. If I'm speaking with an American accent, why can't I understand some people from America? Because, Arun, there are many people, and everyone has a different ability of language. and some of them are brilliant speakers who speak amazingly well, and you can understand everything. And some of them, they're not trying or thinking about their language at all, and they don't need to in their environment, right? So around their friends, everyone understands them. It's what happens to language when language does become very regional. Anytime a language maintains a certain location for a certain amount of time with a certain regular population, it's going to change and mutate and simplify. It does both. It works in both ways. It simplifies and complexifies just depending on who's on the...
which side you're looking at.
The smarter end of the crowd is going to come up with new complex words to use, and the lower, simpler end of the crowd, the more common people, they're going to find more common ways to... I don't know if the right word is devolve, but or maybe...
I mean, simplifying the language, I wouldn't even consider... I would consider that kind of the goal of language, is to be less complex.
However, ain't is not really, that's what it's the purpose of ain't and y'all and,
but
howdy
those
and things like that.
Those don't, they don't degrade a language. They just are a different part of a language.
I think that depends on how you regard them. If you regard them as a separate thing that's like, this is appropriate in this environment and this is appropriate in another, then that's true. But there are some people who will say that ain't is fine and you should just accept it.
But I wouldn't say one's, for the dumber people and one's for the smarter people.
I didn't want to say dumber.
Right, but you said something else.
I said common people, the poorer, the common, the less educated, the less formal, the people who are not in academic environments. That's really what it comes down to, whether that means through school or work.
Right. And academic environments in general in this country have been almost exclusively white for many years.
That's exactly right.
And language was used as a gatekeeping device.
That's true.
To keep people out of these institutions.
That's a
continuation of that, sort of thing.
Yeah. But I will also say, though, that this is a country where, at this point, ignorance is kind of a choice for some people,
for most, they want to continue what the same systems that we're talking about.
And I love that meme I find that every once in a while it pops up into my feed. It says something like, some people would rather believe that education was a scam that they avoided rather than that they just didn't do well.
Right. I know. Well, and it's not even that they didn't do well. It's that they didn't like what they were hearing. What they were hearing went against what they were used to.
Or again, for a lot of people just weren't ready for school at the time, or the schooling that they got was not particularly very engaging and interesting.
Or they couldn't afford it.
So all of those things happen, and that creates a certain number of people who are not interested in learning and not interested in school. And as a matter of fact, they are almost not offended, but defensive about it.
Right.
They're defensive about learning and education.
Well, they're just they're anti everything, really, when it comes. They're anti everything that's not them.
Yeah. Well, and that's what happens when you don't learn.
This country has been that for a very long time.
It has. I don't think it's exclusive to us, but
it doesn't change.
Yeah. So, Arun, to get to your point, why can you understand me? There are two main reasons. One, it's my job to speak well. Right. I am an actual teacher, a real teacher. That's my job. Okay. So, of course, I speak better. And because I'm a teacher, I am careful with my language. That's the point. The majority of people that you listen to have no care. They are not careful because they don't need to be. The people that they are talking to understand them just fine. So they're not trying to reach everyone. They're trying to reach the people who understand them the way they are, right? I use the most generalized, simplified language that I can to reach the largest number of people, right? That's one reason. The second reason is because we have really nice equipment that makes it sound very, very clear, right? So a lot of people, when they're doing their live streams, they're just using the microphone from their phone, which the microphones on phones have gotten much better.
Yeah.
But it's still not that great.
Right.
Compared to this, when you can get that very up close sound that's full and deep, so it makes a difference.
And it's like you said, we are speaking to a certain audience. Right
That's
now.
right. And they are speaking to a general audience and again, it's really a matter of language is ubiquitous. Language is something that is ubiquitous. And because it's ubiquitous, we take it for granted. We don't think about it. It's not something we're usually careful about. And most people don't need to be. Only certain jobs, unfortunately, really have a need for careful language.
Yeah.
If you're a mechanic,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't think careful language is high on your
it depends on what
priority.
you're talking about. You got to know certain parts of the car.
Sure, but I mean, like when you're talking to customers, if you're saying, well, this is broken and we need to fix this, and this ain't working. And,
if you say, "Can I look under the hood?" instead of "May I look under the hood?"
Nobody's going to stop you.
Exactly.
Or this ain't working.
Exactly.
Right, nobody's going to stop you.
No.
There's no care because there's no need for care.
Yeah.
That's all I mean.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, they may notice though, if you have a certain language for a certain audience, right? So if your mechanic's shop is in a more affluent neighborhood where they use that language, then it would behoove you. It'd be better to try to use the language that
sort of agree with that, but I think
you'll get better sales.
I think in most, because believe me, the people down in Covington where there's like they get a lot of nice cars in there. And
I'm sure
they're
do.
right in this one place. And these guys, they use colorful language.
Interesting.
For
Okay.
sure. And I think it's as long as they can, because I think people don't care too much what their mechanic sounds like.
I guess I'm thinking more like Jiffy Lube. Right? If you work for a major company.
I don't want to go there anyway.
Right, yeah. But I mean, if you work for a major company and you're trying to sell things, you could get in trouble for not having appropriate language, or maybe you won't have sales because you're not speaking well enough.
I could definitely see that. Yes.
So, on the other hand, though, same thing is true. If you speak really well, and you work at the Jiffy Lube in the neighborhood where people don't really speak really well, you want to adjust your language for the
same effect, but in the opposite direction.
Yeah, so that's all I meant. Is
I agree with that.
You have to look at the neighborhood you're in and read the room.
Yeah.
It's called reading the room. You look around and provide what the audience is expecting. So we might be talking a little bit fast for you guys today here. I don't know. Let's see. University is really a waste of time. I don't want to say that, Mona.
I mean, it depends on how much you're putting in. To be honest,
Yeah.
if you're putting in the amount of money that I've seen some people put in, then you're right. It is.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be really hard to make some of that money back with a lot of the things that you would just do working anyway.
Now we're mostly talking about American universities.
Yes,
so,
that's true. That's exact. I'm 100 only talking about American university because I don't have experience
with anything else. But the point is though, I have tremendous problems with a lot of what's going on in the university system today, but I am not willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater, which means, it's an idiom that means to just get rid of all of it because there's some problems with some of it.
There is something to be said when every state's highest paid public employee is a football or basketball coach.
Yes.
And so when you're giving your dollars to these universities, they're really not paying for your education.
That's right.
They're paying for a basketball coach.
And if you've listened to me, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah. And I like sports. I love sports, but I do not like college sports. I do not even watch college sports because
Me too.
Because it's exploitative.
It's exploitative, and again, I think
of not just the students, but of the communities.
It also has led us to now reach a point where we respect the football quarterback as much as we do as the guy who graduated summa cum laude in chemistry. Yeah, more. No, absolutely more. We do. So he might have pretty terrible grades, might not really have done much academically, but because he's the hero of the football team, everybody loves him and thinks he's great. And
right.
I think that's a problem. I'm sorry, I don't equate those things. If you're a great sports player, that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But in the scheme of life, I think that there are some things that need to be considered in terms of
Like
importance.
I said, I love sports, but I'm able to compartmentalize and prioritize where reality in humanity lies.
Right. Yeah. Anyway,
Here is worse. Where's Mona? Where are you?
in Iran.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But see, that's what I was going to say is there are other places that have different problems. So, for example,
Right.
in China, where everyone goes to college, gets a good degree, and has a good university, and
Yeah.
the problem with that is if everybody's doing it, then none of it means anything anymore. If everybody has a 4.0, then a 4.0 doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah,
anymore.
and I think that kind of happened here too. Not just 20 years ago or 25 years ago was a big influx of degrees. With lots
It
of
depends
online
on-
college
yeah,
and community
certain-
college, and you get these huge. Everyone had a degree, and it became a lot harder.
Fields, especially like
certain
graphic
fields, for
design,
sure.
basically disappeared.
Right.
Like because everybody was doing it, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it was like, oh well, this is not good. Everybody's doing it, and
they're all making the same thing.
right. Yeah. So, but I still, I have too much respect for the concept of higher education.
No, I do too. And I think that learning in general should not ever be looked down on. And, if you're learning in your own way, that's good. But I think saying that university as a whole is a waste is not accurate at all. But I think that when you look at it in the context of financial efficiency, and you bring up other,
there are
qualifying
many
things,
problems.
There are many problems with it, but
Politics, there's all kinds of stuff into it.
If you were able to just go to college without having anything go wrong at all in your life, it would be a good thing.
Right. Yeah. And
to learn.
And I do think there are some places that do have a university system that does foster. There are European countries that have university systems that really do foster the idea of learning to improve yourself and to get work.
Yes.
But
not just to form you into a job.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. They do understand the connection between actual character improvement.
Right.
Which used to be a really important part of education. But we've essentially forgotten about character improvement. And again, I feel it's like a late stage capitalism kind of a thing.
It is. Well,
when business gets that desperate,
when all the wealth starts to get so hoarded,
and that's what I mean. Things are so desperate that character is something you can't think about anymore. You have to make money wherever you can. You know. So and that doesn't sit well with me. I always have this doubt. Do you remember or did you remember? Both would be correct, but both say something different, right? So do you remember is now. Mm-hmm. If I say, did you remember that yesterday when you were thinking about it? If I ask you that, did you remember yesterday? Maybe I saw you yesterday and you were thinking of something and you couldn't remember, and then I leave. And then I'll ask you tomorrow, oh, did you finally remember that thing? That's a past tense.
Or you could, like if did you forget the keys? Something like that would refer to something right now, but in the past of something that you remembered or forgot.
Yeah, remember makes it a difficult one because remember is a past
implies
action.
Past,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why it becomes confusing.
Yes,
but they're both correct. I would say, do you remember is going to be far more common. Did you remember only comes up in a few situations. Yeah. Okay.
Like that, asking someone if they remembered something from earlier that you need.
Right. Yeah. All right. If one wants to learn English, what should he do for spoken English? Shri, well, you should speak as much as you possibly can, of course, right?
Yes.
And there are components of language that language works together in parts, which means that you may want to work on your speaking, but working on your writing and your reading and your listening will help your speaking, right? When you read, you see how words can be used. You see how the language can be used. When you listen, you hear how the language can be used. When you write, you play with the language to find ways to use it yourself, and you have time to play with it. Whereas when you speak, you have to improvise usually on the spot, right? So they all work together, and that's important to remember. So a lot of you say, I can't practice my speaking, and you're right, you should try to practice speaking as much as you can. But if you don't have an opportunity to work on your speaking as much as you'd like to, you do need to remember you still gain a lot of benefit from learning more with writing, reading, and listening. And if those are more possible for you, then those are what you should do. But we also often talk here about how important it is to learn how to think in the language. Because if you can learn how to think in the language, then you can practice speaking in your mind all day. And that gets you comfortable and familiar with the language. And then when you need to speak, you will sound comfortable and familiar with the language. Yeah. So your mind is an English practice room. So you have two people. One person knows how to think in English, and they practice thinking all the time. So because they practice thinking all the time, the words are comfortable in their mind and they feel relaxed when they speak. And then you have another person, and they don't know how to think in English. So every time they speak English, they have to translate everything in their mind before they speak. And that makes them nervous, and that makes them uncomfortable, and then you can't speak well. So thinking is a critical part of gaining comfortability with the language so that you can speak well.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I think the thinking really does blend, like you're saying, the time that you have with writing something down.
That's right.
And the
thinking is involved in all of those things.
Yes, but it really kind of, meshes them. If you're just doing that, then it meshes them together and makes it more cohesive to just do that.
Hello, Carolina. What is the best song to learn English? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though these are really,
I don't remember
atrocious, whatever, something like that. No, I don't know. How about this one?
Doe, a deer, a female deer.
Or do you remember this one? I don't know if you remember this song from the 1990s. I think it was the 90s. That was the chorus. That was the chorus. The name of the song was and that was the chorus.
Yeah,
that was it.
You learn your M sound.
Yeah,
if you listen to that one.
Yeah. It was a Canadian band, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I'll find it and play it for you later. It's a funny song.
That is funny.
The guy had a very unique, weird, deep baritone voice. Yeah, and he was only famous because he had this really weird voice. When can I know if my level has improved? That's a good question, Abdul.
Yeah.
I think a good way to do that is to record yourself in some ways periodically, right? So once a week or once a month, sit down and record a voice recording of you reading something. Practice all 4 aspects of language in a recording, right? So that means I want you to write something down. I want you to practice listening something that's, that you can save the recording so you know what you listened to, right? And then I want you to speak something, just talk about a subject, right? Choose a subject and try to talk about it for a minute or two. And then I want you to try to write something. So you have all 4 written down or recorded in some way. And then once a week or once a month, you can look back at them and see how you've improved, right? So sometimes the problem is every day you're studying, it's hard to see your own progress. But if you make a recording, you can go back and say, wow, look, I've actually gotten a lot better. This I used to be so terrible.
Yeah,
in the past,
it's just like a plant. If you don't notice a plant growing,
right,
until you see a picture of it from 6 months ago, and you realize how much it grew.
Mm-hmm. All right. You need to clean the camera. Heidi, no, it's not that. It's because I have a lens on the camera.
Yes. It's not dirty.
Yeah, it's not dirty. Yeah. That'd be a good name for a band, the Dirty Lenses.
Yeah, the Dirty Lenses.
I'm going to save that one in the back of my mind.
That is good.
New band project.
Hi, Arya.
Hello, Arya.
I was
Another
here Wednesday,
Arya.
but it had been probably 3 weeks since before that because we had holidays, horrible snow, and then I had car trouble.
Snatch ability. What is snatch? Well, that all depends on where you heard it, Nereo. Where did you hear that
There
word?
is slang snatch.
One meaning of the word snatch is to almost like kidnap, like to take something quickly without warning, and he snatched the keys from my hands. Right?
Where's the question?
Right here, snatch ability. What is
snatch ability. Yeah, I think,
that's the name of my first record. So it's the Dirty Lenses snatch ability.
That's pretty great.
All right, let's see. How can we practice our accent? You're learning English, but you don't know anything about the accent. Pedro, well, you have to choose an accent first. There are different accents, right? So you have to choose which accent you like. Then I think you should find 5 to 10 people who have that accent that you like and listen to them.
One of them being Mark.
Sure, that's right. Yeah, and Clay.
Yes.
So you have 8 more to go. Okay, let's see. Yes, I am a musician. I think that's part of the reason why I try to be clear when I speak, too. Mm-hmm. It's a musical thing, you know?
You want your communication to come over clearly. On the drums, the same way.
Yeah. Clarity of sound is clarity of sound is clarity of sound. And so, musicians learn to focus on clarity of sound in a way that the average person doesn't usually think about. They're thinking about dynamics, and they're thinking about intonation, and they're thinking about rhythm and aspects that you don't usually think about. But I do. I think about my volume. I think about my speed. I think about my intonation. I think about space between the words.
It's like in acting.
It's very
just
similar.
Because my parents were both. My mom is about to retire from being a drama teacher for 20 years, but 25 years. But yeah, she was always about projection, clarity.
Okay, so let's get some people on the stage. Who wants to come talk about the fun ways that they learn English? Do you have a fun way to learn English? What is your fun way to learn English? Come tell us your fun ways to learn English, okay? That's what we're talking about today. That is the topic, fun ways to learn English.
Yeah.
Okay?
So don't come with your boring ones.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Let's make sure everybody understands. Let's see. English is fun. So yeah, English is fun, right?
That's right.
So tell me, what are your fun ways to learn English? All right, we've got, let's get Amir first. Hello, Amir.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I'm good.
Yes, you're Clay.
I'm Clay.
Yes, this is Clay. Yes. Did you not meet yet? No, I guess not. No. Yeah. This is my partner Clay.
I guess I've met him, but I don't remember. Yeah, I've talked to him.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
okay.
I see. I'm very memorable.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. How are you today, Amir?
Yeah, pretty good. Actually, I have a project going on right now, and it's a really tough project. It's a programming one, and it took me a while to just have it, like, kind of figure out what kind of I should do. And I've been using ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is not helpful at all sometimes. When it comes to like advancements, like it can be really wrong at the same time. So
it can, for sure. It absolutely can. It hallucinates sometimes. It just makes stuff up sometimes. Yeah. And you have to be careful. And it likes to repeat itself a lot of times too. I will ask it to be creative and do something, and it'll give me the same 10 answers over and over again. And it's like, dude, be creative means not the same stuff over and over again. Something that's not the norm.
I was already creative once.
Right.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the reason why I'm not that worried about AI quite yet. I think it's a fantastic tool, but I still think that it has a good deal of evolution to go through before it becomes something truly scary that really does always have the answers. It hasn't reached that god complex, stage yet of
algorithmics.
Yeah.
It needs to get out of that
Right.
and more into
Yeah.
like the.
When we have it for like, a year and it never makes a mistake, like that's
Yeah.
when we need to be worried.
Right.
Like
That's when you pull
if
the
it
plug
goes-
on the
If
thing.
it goes for an entire year and answers every single question ever given to it in a great way,
Yeah.
that's when I'm a little scared.
Yeah,
That's when I'm a
it's-
little worried.
There's worriness about that, but the thing that we need to be worried right now and apprehensive about is the fact that like in the near future it's gonna have the intention and it's gonna have the ability to just think on its own. And
That's true, Amir. Yes, and that's what they all talk about. However, I want to give you a different perspective about that I've had recently. Let me teach you a new word. The word is anthropomorphic.
I've heard about the anthropomorphic.
So this word is a good word. It means when humans put human behaviors on things that are not human. We do it with dogs and pets and animals, cats and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
We say, "Oh, he really likes to talk to people." Like the dog. The dog likes to talk to people.
Right.
No, he doesn't, man. He's whatever.
He loves his Dateline.
Right, yeah. He loves to watch TV, like it's a dog. Come on,
Animal argument saying.
Yeah, and I love dogs, and I think dogs are
Right.
smart, but still,
there is the limit.
There is a limit to that. So this is the one thing that I will say is when we predict that AI will basically kill us because AI will do the math. AI will make all the calculations and figure out that we're not really that great, therefore we should just get rid of you. I think that's what a human would do. If a human reached that level of power and understanding, I think that is exactly what a human
And I think we
would
should do it to the
probably
machine.
But I don't know if a machine would do that because a machine doesn't have the same anthropomorphic evolutionary development of emotions and feelings.
But the only thing I would say against that is that all of the information it has access to does come from us. So that would be, how else could it view the world? It doesn't have information from any other source.
I think I would also look at, kind of like a Y2K moment, which is like where we expected how Y2K was going to happen, right?
Everything shut down.
Right.
Ah!
We all said, I lived through it. I remember Y2K was this thing. Everybody thought the world is going to end because of the year 2000.
I was 9 years old.
All of our computers were only designed with 2-digit years. And so we thought, oh no.
You won't be able to get gas at the
Right.
gas pump. They said, all your banks will shut down.
Americans were like hiding in caves and bunkers because of this. We had food stockpiles and stuff, right? But again, when it happened, it was like the world's largest.
The numbers went from 99 to 00,
and
and nothing happened.
So
Yeah.
I think there's a very good possibility that the same thing might happen.
No, I tend to agree with that.
That is very possible that it might achieve consciousness.
Don't give them any weapons.
And then it'll just be like, oh, well, it's a new life form and it has consciousness. And we don't know what it's going to do because we have no basis. It's a new life form. There's no way for it. So you're right. It's predictive behavior is designed based on what it knows about us. But I still think that that doesn't necessarily mean it has adopted our psychology.
Right. Maybe it's worse. Maybe it launches all the nukes at the same time.
That's right. It could just look things from a strictly statistical, mathematical standpoint. And I think that is a concern, sure.
Yeah.
If it only has... That's really the bigger concern.
If it's just the ones and zeros,
if it can't understand any sense of emotion or human nature or anything, then that's when it might just decide, hey, yeah, they are all bad. Let's just get rid of them, But like I said, I don't know. I think that we're just assuming a lot based on what we would do.
Yes.
All of those characters from 2001, HAL, the computer. Did you ever see the movie 2001? Very famous American movie from the 1980s.
With like a child. And with
and there's a dum 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 dum, right? Yeah, right. That whole movie was based on this idea that there's a computer who gets consciousness and he locks them all out and kills them and whatever, right?
Lucy, the movie called Lucy, that was also
That's
famous.
another one. Yeah, that's a more recent one. Yeah. But we've been talking about this concept for a long
as
time.
long as we've had the machine, basically.
Yeah.
Because they even had, there was an ancient writer that wrote about automatons and things like that.
And Rene Descartes.
Yeah, in ancient
existentialism. The idea
the golem.
Right. The existentialism is the idea of, do you know if we're real or not? This all could be a computer simulation.
And there's even more data on that.
There is, yeah. Physics has actually shown that to be true.
To be, it's not completely, but it's statistically
very likely.
Yes,
yeah,
incredibly likely.
So if that's true, then if this is all a simulation,
then we're already machines.
Then we're right. So I mean, none of this could be real. So we're all debating, things that are of really
no consequence.
No consequence. Yeah, it's moot, as we say.
I feel like it's also a double-edged sword. It has its own benefits and also disadvantages.
Of course it does. Yeah, it has already figured out. I just read that they created a new form of molecule. They created, the computer solved something that would have taken 50 years for them to do.
Yeah, the quantum computing is really interesting.
There's a new molecule that they created that glows in the dark. And just like jellyfish, they've wanted to figure out how to make a protein that would do this just like jellyfish, but it would have taken them 50 to 100 years to do. The computer figured it out. The AI computer figured it out, and now we have a diagram. They haven't made one yet, but we have a plan to how to do it.
And genetic, that is going sort of down the line of genetic, changing. And I am a aquarium hobbyist. I have some aquariums at my house, and in that trade there are people who have taken those jellyfish genes and put them into the embryos of fish, and now they have fish that glow in the dark, and that are not dyed or anything like that. But this is the way that they're also going to be trying to bring back dinosaurs.
And they're solving lots of medical problems with this, where they're looking at Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and they're looking at cancer and things like that. And I genuinely do believe that there's a very good possibility within my lifetime that they will find a cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, based just on this alone. That the AI, once they combine quantum computing with AI and medical purposes, it's going to start doing some pretty cool stuff.
Or it's going to gas us all.
It's also going to eliminate so many jobs.
It is, it is. Also, that's absolutely right. Yeah, and including yours. There
will be more openings, though.
I've heard a statement. Sorry to cut you off. I've heard a statement even from own developers, from the like for example Sam Altman and even Elon Musk, that this job has tried its own the best in order to try to just do everything in order to eliminate its own job. So they've been trying hard. They've been trying really hard to just create so many more opportunities for the near future for the people, for the
So the thing is, Amir, I think that it is going to cause a massive amount of chaos because our economy is how do I say this? It's a labor-based economy, and so because it's a labor-based economy, when you disrupt the labor,
so much anymore. It was for men. Nowadays, we're more of a finance economy. That most of our capital comes from
our capital, yes, but that's people's income. Is just labor-based.
Sort of,
that's work. That's work. People have to work to live.
No, they are. But I'm saying, as far as the country goes, it's mostly a finance. A finance capital is how they operate. Not so much on the labor side's more in China. But these days,
what we're talking about now is when we have this argument between what the economy is. Right? On the news, they always talk about the economy is great, and then all of us at home are like, "What? The economy is not great.
Where's my money then?"
Right? The economy is great for the finance bros.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there are two ways to talk about the economy.
Exactly.
One way is to talk about the power of economics financially that you have, and that's the finance bros. The other way is just people have jobs, and jobs get paid, and that's how you pay your bills. That's economics as well. That's common economics, right? popular economics is probably a good way to put it. So the point being that, a lot of jobs gonna go. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing because, to be honest, I think that our model of
work as much as you can forever
it's
until your fingers are bloody.
It's exploitative. It's almost slave labor like. You know, we're killing people with work for no good reason. And the thing I always like to say is, you know, when you see a brilliant artist, right? You see somebody like Michelangelo and you say, wow, Michelangelo, so amazing. Do you know how many millions of Michelangelos there are who are just working in a field somewhere? Mm-hmm. You know, there are lots of people who could be brilliant.
Had the aptitude, but not the opportunity.
That's exactly right. There are millions of people who have had brilliant, something brilliant in them, something potentially brilliant in them, who never ever got to pursue it because of the way that we do things. You know.
Because of money.
Yeah, right. So that's why I think that if it does disrupt our economics, I don't think that's a bad thing. That's just evolutionarily necessary at this point. You know?
I agree with that.
Our economy around the world is actually limiting our evolution at this point, our growth. You know, we're limited by our fear of losing the money, and you know, that's preventing us from making good decisions. Look at climate change. That's a perfect example. Climate change wouldn't be an argument if we didn't have the reliance on money that we do. But because we're so worried about losing money, we say, but if I fix the climate, then I won't have a job at the oil company.
And it goes higher than that. I won't be able to maintain power.
Right.
You know, it's really what it comes down to. If you don't have that big money influx, you can't maintain the system.
So that's why, like, I don't think, I think it's going to be rough. I think it'll be hard. I think it'll be a tough situation that's going to throw a lot of things really out of balance. But I almost think it's also the one thing that's going to force the mega rich to have to do something.
Yeah, and it'll create opportunity.
Yeah,
too.
Because at some point in time, every dollar they make does come from the bottom. It comes from the people who actually do it.
Eventually, there'll be nothing left.
That's right. So if none of the people are making anything anymore, then they can't be rich anymore either. Right. So at some point in time, they have to, adjust it.
Especially
or
from
shackle us.
Yeah, I mean, Apple phones have been made by the researchers, and those, I mean, I've heard, I was talking to a friend of mine, he told me that the reason that a phone is made, it wasn't just on the idea that only like Steve Jobs and the other guy came up with, but the idea that they came up with was from those papers they read at the same time. So they got some ideas from the papers, and they to like try to have it over with some like kind of other colleagues, and then they made this iPhone and they made.
It wasn't the first touch phone or anything like that.
I mean, that's kind of been true forever. Even Thomas Edison.
He was the worst culprit of it of all time.
When I was a boy, we talked about Thomas Edison like he was this great man who invented so many things.
Yes.
Then later we learned that
he's mostly just a guy who bought patents.
That's right. He was what we call a shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
He didn't invent almost anything. He just took credit for things and stole things, kind of like this other guy.
There's another dude.
Yeah, there's some other guy today who does a lot like that. I can't remember what his name is.
He stole a name from a guy who actually did invent things.
What is it? Busk?
Yeah,
Kusk? Lusk? Something like that. I don't know. There's another guy whose name is similar to that who's just like Thomas Edison.
Claims he's a scientist.
No more. Tesla has made a lot of impact.
Tesla has.
That's what we're saying. He did not invent Tesla or start Tesla. He bought it.
He did not.
He purchased Tesla.
Tesla has. And even better, the funniest thing about it is the name Tesla. Nikola Tesla
was a real inventor.
A real genius and was a real inventor.
And got screwed over by the banks and everyone else.
He would probably be rolling in his grave if he found out that his name is now being used by that guy.
Yeah. And in reality, electric cars are not going to help the environment when the way that they're sourced and the way that they're manufactured it creates however many carbon emissions. The footprint is nearly the same as if you just kept your same car and didn't manufacture an entire other vehicle.
That's true. However, again, I think this is another problem that AI is going to be better at solving than we have.
Well, I think cities in most of the world have solved this by public infrastructure that's not based around the car. And then that's why in America,
I wouldn't say solved, but
not solved, but definitely alleviated and addressed much more so than here, where it's only car and that's your only choice, which is environmentally destructive no matter how you package the vehicle.
Yeah, but freedom.
Yeah. Individuality, baby.
That's what we say here, but I'm free to drive my truck and do whatever I want.
I have to get my license and pay my taxes, and I have to get my fishing license and all that, but I'm free.
We have a funny thing in America that's really, it's like the pure ignorance at its best. It's called, what is it called? Rolling coal.
Rolling coal. I see it quite a bit in Kentucky.
Yeah, in Kentucky, I'm sure you do. Rolling coal is when they have trucks. Usually it's a truck.
A diesel truck,
It's a diesel truck, and they design the truck. I don't know how they do it exactly.
So they run the exhaust. Generally, they run the exhaust from where it would usually come out the back, and they run it up the side of their car, out the top like a semi truck.
But how do they get it to actually black smoke?
They slam the gas. So
that's it?
Yes,
just,
because that's what the diesels, they don't run the same way. They don't immediately spark the gas. So they do a glow plug. So then it's all this building up inside the diesel engine, and then it blows
so
here's a huge cloud of black smoke out.
Is these big diesel trucks, they think it's funny to put a huge cloud of black pollution smoke out to, when they see like an electric car drive by, like they'll say, oh, I'm going to show them, and I'm going to, when all this black smoke comes out, and it's like, man, wow.
But it's just fragile identity.
Yeah,
it's
like
a fragile identity that can be broken by seeing a car.
For a guy in such a big truck, you're a real child.
Yeah,
like that's all I can say. And it's a popular thing here in certain communities. Anyway. Dimitri says for some people like me, climate change is only beneficial. That's right. I was talking about that to Dimitri. I told him that I think the one big winner in all of climate change is going to be Siberia.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Siberia has been this place that for decades and decades and decades, we talked about it like it was this cold, barren desert place where no one goes there. But to be honest, it's warming up now, and it's like Alaska. It's beautiful. It's untouched, beautiful nature. All they have to do is build some roads, and Siberia will be.
And soon we'll be able to exploit Siberia too.
30 years from now, Siberia will be like the big tourist place.
All the trees will be gone.
Yeah, Anyway,
it is already now, isn't it? Isn't it a tourist place?
I don't think it's that touristy yet. No, because they don't have enough highways or infrastructure there yet. But I think that now that it's warming, they didn't have infrastructure there before because it was too.
It's like Alaska.
It was just too.
It's too hard.
It's too harsh.
Yeah, it's too harsh, and it's not worth the investment.
The ground is literally frozen, so trying to dig in it is possible, but really hard and not so fun, right? So a lot of companies just say it's not worth the investment. But now that it's warming up, archaeologists are going there and they're finding mammoth dinosaurs, right?
I had seen in like a Siberian tiger. I mean, not a tiger, a saber-tooth. Yeah, a saber-tooth tiger.
And they're preserved almost perfectly because the soil was frozen for thousands of years. So millions even. So now it's warming up and they're digging them up like, well, look at how nice it is. Siberia. There are some places, Canada too, I said. Canada is another place with a huge amount of big, barren, cold
Although they are going to lose quite a bit of coast.
It just depends on, the only thing that could change that is climate change is also affecting the air and water currents. And that's going to determine a lot about the temperature of certain areas. And for example, the reason why we get more cold down here now is because the Canadian air is blowing down further and harder than it used to, down further south into the United States. So the during the winter, the frost line is going further south, and that's the reason why New Orleans got snow this year.
Texas a couple years ago or whatever got the crazy frost over.
You know, there are pictures of New Orleans, which is a city in the far south of the United States. And the last time they got snow was 100 years ago. Like last time they got snow like that.
Yeah.
And now they have pictures of it, and it's like, wow. But again, that's the Canadian air being blown further down. So it depends on how the currents change. If those currents change, it could make it warmer, it could make it colder. Yeah. Depends on how it goes. Yeah. So we'll see.
I think regarding what you also mentioned about the cars, that they are trying to make it like hybrid or electronic nowadays, and they're trying to also make those beautiful like eye-catching those cars. I mean, I've heard that they're not gonna be sold anytime. They're not gonna be sold anymore. And those like Ferrari cars and those classic cars that they
there's certain places. It just depends.
Oh,
you won't be able to get
so like in Europe,
gas vehicles.
In Europe, for example, and when I was just in Europe, I mentioned that I was like, there are no old cars here, and they almost
they have a stipulation.
Almost all the countries there, they have a regulation saying that you can have one, but only if you get it fixed to work better, and that you have to pay money for a special license plate, and it costs a lot of money, so it's not easy, and a lot of people don't do it. I saw probably 5
I think New York
cars
even
when I
New
was
York
in Europe.
just started, their carbon tax, which is along the same lines. It's not the same thing, but it's coming close to the same type of.
However, I will probably say the likelihood of that actually happening in any real sense in America, never, because cars are just such a huge part of our culture, that when you talk about getting rid of cars, for some people that's like getting rid of America. That's such a huge part of their identity.
The car companies were super successful. That's been their marketing campaign for over 100 years. Has been connecting the car with the American identity, and it's worked in spades.
We need cars to go places, and we want to go places.
We bailed out the entire industry. The government was willing to bail out the entire American car industry. If that tells you how much it's worth to
they
America.
failed, and it was their fault, and we still helped them.
And then they took money out of my pocket to pay for some guy's new Bronco.
Anyway, we're getting a bit off topic today, but that's okay. It's fun.
I've been having fun.
It's fun. Yeah, we didn't. I don't know if we covered.
Smart.
I don't know if we covered anything about fun learning of English. But
if using ChatGPT to learn English, but it tells you the same thing over and over.
That's true.
A lot of ways about like learning about that, but like for example, sometimes I know a lot of idiomatic expressions, and also since I'm a perfectionist, I try to go on ChatGPT and ask it, because if you don't have a subscription, it's not gonna go work for you, because ChatGPT is gonna use its own, for example, like old data that it has been like trained based on that. Gonna use only those data, and back in the day when I was using those, they were all wrong. I was feeling like, because I couldn't even find them on a dictionary, like what the hell those idioms are you using?
Right. I just had a thought that just popped in my head of another possible situation that we haven't considered about AI and how they develop that could also happen, which is that what about if we get AI and they develop their own consciousness, and now you have DeepSeek and ChatGPT, and they're not gonna like each other. They're gonna be competitors, so maybe they will actually.
Now we're getting into Dune. The AI wars, and the dark age of technology.
All the different AIs are gonna, if they all achieve consciousness, then that means that they potentially could have a sense of jealousy or resentment or anything like competition. So
we'll have to choose sides.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So now we're still choosing sides now. Yeah. Everybody's saying like ChatGPT, no DeepSeek's better. No ChatGPT, no DeepSeek's better.
How do you think about like the differences? Because I feel like DeepSeek hasn't like reached that potential.
Yeah, now. I haven't tried DeepSeek yet. I only found out about it a few days ago. I'm sure it's good. However, I also read a few articles that OpenAI says that they trained their model on OpenAI without permission, and that's why it's working well. And I don't doubt that. I think that that's probably pretty likely.
every small company is using the idea of some like bigger companies. I've talked
Right.
to some of my people. One of my friends is running a company in Amsterdam, and he's basically telling me that I'm trying to use for machine learning. I'm trying to use a bit of idea from the Apple, and also try my own idea and combine them together in order to get my company running. And it's similar. In order for even for bloggers or any creators nowadays, they need to, if they want to become like being all the rage or being a public eye, they have to be like trying to imitating what like those successful people do. Even for English, as you say, we need to imitate people what they say.
Yes, and imitation is the best form of flattery, but we also get into some big problems with something called copyright.
Well, yeah,
and intellectual property, you know.
But that also gets into like technology doesn't, you can't just like make a new technology. You have to build on things. That's how technology works and exists. You don't just like, oh, now here's a cell phone, you know. This
is really no difference than when you were in math class when you were a kid, and if you solve the math problem and your friend solves the math problem, you both have to show your work.
Right.
It's really what it comes down to. Is you can have the same answer, that's fine, but if one of you can't show your work, then you probably cheated.
Right, but we don't claim that you're stealing from Pythagoras by using his theorem.
That's right.
You know, or anything like that, where we're stealing the numbers from
certain aspects of knowledge are self-evident, whereas certain aspects of knowledge are proprietary.
Well, and I think that that's just based on time.
Yeah.
That they all become
eventually
they all become self-evident.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Mostly. Called plagiarism mostly by the universities.
Yeah, but even Pythagoras, like I just read that they found evidence that Pythagoras, the Pythagorean theorem, I can't even say it, the Pythagorean theorem was solved way before him.
Yeah.
You know, somebody else solved it a long time before he did, you know?
Well,
but that just proves that there are almost always simultaneous things happening.
And there's egos.
There are egos
that want to name things.
Yeah.
And I was in a geology class last semester, and it was about how there's all these different dinosaurs, all these different dinosaur bones, and they're all named different things, when in reality, many of these animals were the same animal through different stages of life. So there's 5 different Triceratops species, when in reality it's one species of a different age, but each one of these researchers wanted to put their name onto a new dinosaur so that they could have it. And that was considered a scientific, that was the way things were done back then.
Which is also the reason why America is called America.
Well, this was mostly English and European archaeologists.
But back then, though, when you named a place, when you found a new place, it was named by whoever found it, and then whatever map maker you could get to first. That's who put the name on it, is whoever made the map.
That's why we have funny names like Truth or Consequences, Arkansas. There's
right.
places that are called, they have funny names.
Yeah, so it's all about, not just who got there first, but who wrote it down. Right, so the Vikings got to America way before Amerigo Vespucci did.
And maybe someone else wrote it down, but it may have been lost.
Yes, but that's one of the things about the Vikings that's difficult, is they didn't have a lot of written history.
No.
That's the problem with them.
Or the indigenous cultures to the Americas. Right. It was almost all oral tradition.
That's right. Yeah, not much written down. Or if it was written down, it was written down on a piece of leather, and that is gone.
Right.
So we don't have it anymore, So
all in all, I feel like even with the passage of time, I feel like those people who are artists nowadays are using AI. With the help of AI, they're trying to also create their own logo and also thing. But at the same time, I feel like nowadays we are trying to copy each other, as you mentioned, and we are seeing less creativity, which is also not a really good thing to see.
So I think that this has always been the case.
Yeah.
Technology puts possibilities in some people's hands, and it turns some people into lazy or less effective people because they have something that can do it for them without trying. So for some people, it will become a tool that they'll use to do something neat and cool and new, and for some people, it'll become a tool of laze, essentially. And that's true. That's always been true, though. The same thing is true in I'm a drummer. In 1978, they created the first electric drum machine. And when they did, they said, there will be no more drummers. We're not going to have any more drummers because now we have an electronic drum machine. We don't need the drummers anymore. And they really did say there will be no more drummers. Hi, it's 2025. I'm a drummer. I'm still here, you know? So
that was a great response.
and you know, the technology always comes with these predictions of doom and gloom. And they don't generally
and
come
almost
out
always they open new industries, you know,
right,
and new
right. Now,
places
what my
to
point
work.
was, though, is I'm still here, and so it didn't get rid of drummers.
Right.
But it did create a group of lazy people who use drum machines and equate it to the same level of talent that an actual drummer has. And I will not say that that's the case. No, a drum machine doesn't have years of experience or talent to actually learn. It is a programmed mathematical tool.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mathematical tool.
How could it keep up with like an improvised change or something like that?
At least
it's just like,
you know, actually Germany created a robotic drummer that does actually improvise. Yeah, and it does it really, really, really well. But
see if you can play with Miles Davis.
yeah, right. Yeah.
I reached my daily time limit.
Okay. All right, Amir. Well, it was great to go off on tangents with you. So
Yeah, that was fun.
we'll see you next time, Amir. Okay.
See ya.
Take care, my friend. All
Have a
right.
good day.
Now let's get back to actually talking about
Yeah,
English.
that's
How about
fair.
that? We
That's
did a lot of global, high-minded thinking.
Yeah, lots
for a
of
while.
postulating.
Yeah, right. That was great. It was fun.
That
It
was
was
fun.
an advanced conversation. But let's get
Yeah,
back
he
to
is a great
to
English
actual.
speaker.
He is indeed again Iranian.
Yeah.
you know, always impressive. So, who wants to learn English and have fun? Anyone? Who wants to tell me about their fun ways to learn English? How about Saranya? Saranya wants to come tell me about the fun ways to learn English. Saranya, are you there? Saranya, hello. Let me try one more time. If not Saranya, then we'll go to the next person in line, who is Fatima. Let's go to Fatima. I never know if it's Fatima or Fatima.
Yeah.
Oh, Fatima got scared. I think it's sometimes one and sometimes the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be wrong.
Oh, there she's back.
Oh, there she is. Let's try again, Fatima. Hello, Fatima. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, sir, and how are you?
I'm fine. Wa alaikum assalam. So you are in Pakistan. Are you in Lahore? Are you in Karachi? Where are you?
Yes,
Islamabad?
Alhamdulillah, I'm from Pakistan. I live in Peshawar.
Peshawar. Okay. Okay. And did you want to talk about fun ways to learn English?
Yes, because we easily learn to the fun, because English is a very difficult, especially grammar, and English is a global language. Every country want to learn English for the communication to and one another, especially English teach in the school, colleges, etc. So fun is the best way. We easily learn through the fun.
I completely agree,
Yeah.
and almost all the educational studies agree also that play, we call it play. Play is the best form of learning. If you can find play, it actually, I want to change that. I really think that the best thing to say is play is not only the best form of learning style, play is also the best form of working style.
Yeah, and this living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you approach your work like play, you do it better.
That's why I like the Chinese
Yes.
phrases that use
Yes,
play.
great.
That's
you
right.
know, a
Yeah.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so play is both fun, it's both good for work, right? Like right now we are working, but we're playing.
Yeah.
This is fun. It's fun to engage in conversation and to try to push things, right? But I am trying to be purposeful and teach, right? So, yeah, learning is fun, you know? Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yes, sir. You know, sir, my English is not good. Sometimes very upset. I feel very stressed. How to manage this and how to, because in Pakistani, most of the competitive exam conduct in the English, and most of the competitive examiner check your English language, your body language, your fluency. So my fluency is not good, and grammar. I take some stress and tension how to learn this and how to correct the grammar.
Well, first, Fatima, you need one big thing, which is confidence. And you don't have it because you think you're not so good. But let me help you. I think you're pretty good.
Yeah, I can understand you just fine.
Right. We both think you're pretty good. We're both native speakers and teachers. So you need to remember what we say. It's very common, Fatima, that non-native speakers are almost always more critical, right? So your professors and maybe some of your friends and even your family, they might tell you your English is not good, your accent is terrible, and your vocabulary is not good. But it's actually not true. It's really not that bad. You're doing pretty well, okay? It's really just common that when you're learning a new language, the people around you who are also learning that language, they tend to be a bit too hypercritical.
Yep.
And they cause you to feel nervous. You make you feel like you're not good enough. But it's just not true. Okay? Native speakers will come in and say, "No, you're really good. You know, what are you worried about? Stop worrying so much. You'll be fine." Fatima, language is a performance. Okay? And every performer is nervous the first time they perform, right? But if you do it again and again and again and again and again, then you become a great performer, right? The more you do it, the better performer that you become, right? So you have to perform more, and then you'll get more confidence and be more relaxed and feel like a performer, okay?
I can't remember which writer it was that said, to speak is to fight. And what he meant by that was that, you need to have confidence going in, but there's always a back and forth with speaking. It's not all on you, to be whatever perfect. That's not the goal. The goal is to be understood. So if you can go back and forth and have the quote unquote fight, then that you're getting what needs to be done with your speaking.
Interesting. That quote seems to come from somebody, Audre Lorde, a prominent African-American feminist poet and writer, who used it to emphasize the power and potential for a confrontation inherent in speaking out against oppression and injustice. Yeah. So, that's right. Speaking is power. Speaking is, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes,
Fatima, you need to relax. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
You're doing fine. Practice more, speak more. And Fatima, I always talk about this here. The best way to become comfortable with your words is to practice them in your mind first. So you can use your mind like it's a practice room where nobody can hear you and you can say anything and no one will make fun of you or judge you or criticize you. So you can practice up here all day and not worry. And that means that you can get comfortable up here. And then if you're comfortable up here, then you won't be nervous when they actually ask you to speak. Okay?
Yes. Thank you so much,
You're
sir.
welcome.
I learned a lot. You decrease my tension, and I take always tension and upset. I feel very upset. How to improve and how to learn, but no, you told me a lot of different way and how to decrease tension and how to learn through the fun and no think about the people what
That's
people
right.
say about me.
That's right. Yeah, you're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
Follow us. Come back and check us out and watch my YouTube videos, and you'll get lots of tips about how to improve your English, okay?
Yes, so give me your YouTube channel.
Yeah, let me put
link.
it here. Let me put it in the chat here. One moment.
And Ave made a good point here. Is that's the being critical is true of people who don't even learn language.
Yeah, especially in America.
Yes,
oh my
they
God,
can be
especially
overly
in America.
judgmental
Yeah.
when they're not even learning.
That's right.
Language.
It's I wish I could say this is not true, but it is true. If you come to America, there are some people, I would say maybe even a 30% number of people who they don't know another language. They may not have even ever really tried.
They may not even like hearing another.
That's
language,
right. That they're so averse.
Involved
they
in
dislike
themselves.
anything that's not their language. They
Yeah.
actually have like they really don't like. They feel it's foreign and therefore bad. So there are some people here who, when you speak, if they have any trouble understanding you, they're almost upset that your English is not good, but they've never learned another language, so they probably
understand. Barely learned English.
Right, they don't understand how difficult it is to learn another language, so it's really, really rude. It's really rude.
I agree.
When I meet somebody who's speaking another language, if they have an accent, this is what I mean. If I meet somebody who has an accent, I immediately think, oh, you know another language.
Right.
Right. So that's why you shouldn't get rid of your accent, because your accent says you are from another place.
Right.
And it says that you're smart.
It
you
does.
know 2 languages.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do. That's a great point. And I think more people need to think about it that way.
Yeah,
it's very true.
I really discourage people from wanting to
very
get
true.
rid of their accent, because it causes people to think that your accent must be embarrassing in some way. That you should be ashamed of having an accent, but you don't need to be ashamed of having an accent. Your culture is something you should be proud of. You don't need to, feel bad about it, but you just need to reach one simple level, which is clarity. So you don't have to sound like a native. That's way up here.
Yeah.
Right? That's way up here, the standard. But the standard of clarity for understanding each other is way down here. And that's all you need, right? So we understand you, and we think you speak well and you speak clearly. You can keep working on it. You're not done. Nobody's ever done, right? So you can continue to work on it.
I'm not done learning English.
That's
I
right.
still learn new words and new things.
So that's why we're just encouraging you to just believe in yourself and keep working on it, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. You are amazing and wonderful. I know words to explain your personality. Sir, I choose this app. I think 1 month ago for learning English. I search. I don't talk with the specially male, so I search females and join the female. So some people. Matlab play a music etc. And then I search a native speaker a teacher, and one is the Tushana ma'am and another
Tushana,
you.
Oh,
So
okay.
I joined your voice room the first time, and the Tushana ma'am voice room I joined I think 5 and 3 times.
Yeah, Tashana's also great. Yeah, we know each other a little well. Yeah, that's great. Good. There are some people on Hello Talk who are real teachers who are really trying to help people, Just a couple of days ago, there was some American young dude came on my stream and
I think you might have told me about
Yeah,
this,
he was saying, he
That's
doesn't know what he's
wrong.
talking about. He's wrong or whatever. And it's just so funny. And again, that's probably a perfect example. This is probably a guy who doesn't actually know another language. And, he doesn't know I speak Chinese.
Right.
So, he's telling me how wrong I am about language learning. There is a certain weirdness about language learning in America.
It all comes from that same sort of, like we were talking about, keeping your individuality, keeping things foreign out,
that's right. Yeah.
That sort of.
Yeah, it's weird. When you come here,
ideology.
we have like 50% of the people who are kind of like me, and I know where my family comes from Europe, and I have a connection to that. And I want to maintain my connection to my old family past. But then there are some people who they have it's almost like they want no connection to anything
they're American.
Yeah, they're American and they're only American, and they don't want any connection to their past or anything foreign.
And a lot of that gets into sort of political reasons.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but
yeah.
Anyway, Fatima, you're doing fine. Oh, by the way, is it Fatima or Fatima? Which one is it?
Fatima.
Fatima. Okay, thank you for telling me. I wasn't sure. So thank you very much, Fatima. And come back and see us again sometime, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Once again, thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Allah Hafiz.
So, yeah, you know what was great about that? It was she was in Pakistan, and often the connection's not so good, but her connection was excellent, so that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, we could hear her clearly the whole time. No breaking up.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Wonder if it was without the camera, if it helped or not.
That's a good question.
If it was, used less data.
I think that does have something to do with it. I'll have to talk to them about that. Saranya said, I missed the opportunity. Saranya, you can try again if you want. You want to raise your hand again, I can try to get you back up here. But we have some other people who are waiting now. Is Farah in, I believe, Malaysia? Farah, do you have something you'd like to talk to us about? Would you like to ask us about fun ways to learn English, or tell us your fun ways to learn English? Fun ways to learn English. Tell us your fun ways. All right, Farah is busy, maybe. How about Sarah? You know, it's really interesting also when I talk to all the people in the Middle East and I find out like how many names are actually Middle Eastern names.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, you know, like Sarah is a perfect example of one. Dina and Dima, another one. You know, like I had a friend named Dina when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool name, and I didn't know it was, mom's Arabic, of course. You know, Oh, look, we got both of them, Farah and Sarah. Great. Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Who am I talking to? Is that Sarah or is that Farah?
In Iran, we say Sarah, but
Sarah,
another people can say Sarah. Okay?
Yeah.
We say it right, Sarah. Yeah,
we say both actually.
Yeah.
Some people say Sarah, some people say Sarah here. I think Sarah is more common here. Yeah, but both are said occasionally. Yeah, and
it's an international name for women.
That's right. Yeah, now it's an international name. But just like those are those religious names?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Oh, that's interesting. That's
no,
I only asked that.
It's not a religion name.
That's interesting. I only asked that because, for example, my name is Mark, and that's a biblical name. That's from the Bible. A lot.
Wow,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The most popular names in America are all biblical
almost.
Sarah, it's not. But in Iran, Fatima, Zahra, it's a religion name.
Those are religious names. Right, exactly. So that's what I was trying to figure out, which ones are religious and which ones aren't. Yeah. Okay, so Sarah.
I'm so happy to talk to you, Teacher Mark.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so happy.
Thank you very much. And are you in Tehran or where are you? Isfahan? Shiraz. Oh,
Shiraz.
My favorite kind of wine.
Yes.
It's a city. It's the south of Iran.
Yes, I know it. Yeah, like I said, that's
Tehran
actually...
is the north of Iran.
That's my favorite kind of wine is Shiraz wine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's so famous.
Sarah, do you have any questions for us or anything that you want to ask us about or anything?
I don't have a specific question, but I'm trying to be good in English because my speaking is a little bad. And
here we go again. Your speaking is great. Your speaking is great. Your speaking is great, Sarah.
No. I mean, I like that. I speak like a native, and it's so difficult for me.
I wish, but Sarah, here's what you need to remember. There's no such thing as speak like a native. I know. Here's why I say that. Because I can go on Facebook right now, and within 10 minutes, I can find 5 local people who have pretty terrible English. Okay.
And a native speaker could talk like this. We don't even know.
So what that means is that means that some native speakers speak well, but not every native speaker speaks well. So this idea that I want to speak like a native speaker is a weird thing to say, So, Sarah, what you want to do is you just want to speak well. Forget about this native speaker stuff. Yeah. Just you want to speak well.
You.
And even better.
You make me so happy.
I want you to speak better than a native speaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, such a wow.
That's right. And you can. it's right now in the audience, there are 64 people here. I'm sure that I could find 10 of them that have probably better English than a few people I know here.
Yeah.
Okay, so level of language. Language is something we learn it in school and then we forget it, and that's we never think about it again. Most people. I'm an English teacher. That's different, right? But most people, we stop thinking about it, and then after you stop thinking about it, you stop caring about it, and after you stop caring about it, then the language starts to get a little worse, you know. So a lot of people here have I think not exactly a high level of English ability.
And I think the idea of native speaker, like, we're always against it, really, and I still am. But I think more so, you need to be a native listener. You know, I think that's more important. Is being able to hear as clearly and understand as clearly as a native, and be able to be understood, and clarity, like we always say. But being speaking like a native is not important. Losing your accent is not important at all.
I think I'm a professional when I understand everyone.
Well, then that's great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But
when I understand another people and I can speak to everyone, it's so good.
That's great. But Sarah, often when I'm here, people will tell me they can't understand some guy on YouTube. But what I will tell them is that's not your fault. That's probably because the guy on YouTube is maybe he's not speaking very well, right? So if you're listening to somebody who's not a good speaker.
Sometimes I couldn't understand at all, And
that's where you'll get levels too.
That's right. Yeah. And that's why
those are a little more important levels. You know, if you want to engage in that in that media, then those are much more important than sounding native.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But the point is that you have to be in the beginning, when you're learning a language, you have to be more careful and selective about who you listen to, because you're going to be very frustrated if you just listen to anyone, right? I speak Chinese, but there are millions of Chinese people I can't understand.
I was listening, and there's one channel that I follow, and it's this girl from the northern part of China, which is a lot of hard R sounds, you know.
The accent is very different.
It's very different, and so it's hard for me to gauge, you know, what's being said, as opposed to more Beijing dialect. Well, which is sort of like that too.
Wonderful teacher on Hello Talk. And it's so useful for me because since I've been using this app, I can speak better, I can listen carefully. But unfortunately, there are some people, they are native, but they don't speak very well. And
exactly what he said.
Yeah, right. That's what I was going to tell you, Sarah, is there are some people here on Hello Talk who are real teachers who really do want to help you. Then there are two other groups of people. There are some people on here who are native speakers, and they don't really know much about English. They're not familiar with our rules. They don't remember any of it.
Maybe they're just bored.
And they're just bored. They just want to talk. They're not here to help you. They can't really help you with language. They just don't have the ability to. But then there is another small group of people here who I think you also need to be careful with, because there are a few, not many, but there are a few people who act like teachers and they talk like teachers, but the
information they're giving doesn't line up.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there are some people here who are giving advice, but they have no real background as a teacher. I do have my teaching certification. I have taught for years, doing this in classrooms in many, many situations. I've been an actual teacher since I was 18 years old. That was 1994. So I've been teaching a long time, but so, you know, I'm always very careful. I'm not trying to tell people that you can't do stuff here. You know, if you want to try to help, that's fine. But there are certain people here who I hear it all the time. Somebody will come on my stream and say, well, I went on this other stream and they told me that I'm terrible. And I'll be like, well, I don't know what they're talking about. No, you sound great.
They're terrible.
Right. So be careful.
Because I'm so happy to meet you. Because I must need a wonderful teacher like you and another teacher like you, and it's so useful for me.
I appreciate
especially
that.
Iranian people.
I appreciate
You're welcome,
that.
sir.
To be able to put sentences together the way you are,
You're doing great.
You're doing
And
just fine.
I always talk about this, Sarah. I've been on Hello Talk for a long time now, and I have the largest number of followers I have is from China, but I think the second largest number of followers I have is from Iran. And it's really interesting for me because, to be honest with you, Iran is a country that I really did not know much about before I started live streaming. I know a little, but not a lot. But since I've been a live streamer, I've had the opportunity to meet and talk with, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Probably a couple hundred different Iranians.
Quite a few dozen.
And it's been a really great experience. And they always have such great English. It's amazing to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, in my country, there are so many language institute, and some people go to English class, but they don't speak at all. Because
in the country, right? I know, I hear that all the time. Yeah, that's what shocks me. Is like, how can you have such amazing English, but you guys all talk about how nobody speaks English there? You know, like it's really weird. Yeah, but I also want to encourage you to understand that really there are lots of other Iranians just like you who also want to practice their English. They're in your neighborhood, but you just have to find them. You know, they know English and they want to practice their English too, but you have to, meet them and find them and go have tea, Yeah. So, Sarah, I'm going to let you go, but it was really a pleasure to talk with you and meet you, and thank you for coming and following.
Me too, sir. Me too. It was so great to talk to you. I follow you, and I hope see you soon.
Thank you very much. I hope so too. Take care, okay?
Thank you, dear teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And I'm about to have to head out too. I've got my creative writing class about 35 minutes away or so.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right, guys. I had a lot of fun today. I really did, talking about all the different topics.
I'm still going to be here. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to let him out, and then I'll be right back, okay? So don't go anywhere. I'm not leaving. We're not done.
And I'll for sure be back on Wednesday. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks, Mark.
No problem.
Yeah, that's lots of good conversation.
Yeah, Amir's a recent follower from the last few weeks or so, and he's a smart guy.
He is, and he speaks great English.
He's in the Netherlands.
What's
actually. He's studying in the Netherlands. Yeah.
All right, yeah, man.
See you, man. All right, everyone. Let me just get seated here. And actually, I can take off this now. There. Is it clear now? All right. I think the camera should be clear now, right? All right, and M. Shawais, yes, let me try to get you up because I know you were trying to talk to me yesterday. And then Daichi, you're waiting. I'll talk to you next, Daichi, and then Neymar. Okay? Hello, M. How are you? Is your name Mohammed?
Hi, Mr. Mark. How are you? My name is Mohammed Shahwiz Ali. My first name is Shahwiz.
Ah, Shahwiz. Okay. And how can I help you? You're in Pakistan. Where? Are you in Islamabad or Karachi or where?
I'm from Karachi.
Okay. All right. So what can I do for you?
Okay. So my question was about accents too. So I have searched a lot about this on YouTube, and I found that the best person to learn the art of communication is Mr. Vin Yang. I'm writing his name in the chat. So if anyone wants to learn the art of communication, they should definitely see him at least once at YouTube.
Who is this?
Vin.
Mr.
Yang.
Vin. Okay, and he's on Hello Talk?
No, he's at YouTube, and
he's on YouTube. Okay.
He's been teaching this thing from the last 10 years.
And he teaches English?
No, he's basically teaching the art of communication.
Okay.
The art of public speaking and all these things. So,
okay, interesting. All right, I've never heard of him.
Okay. One person asked him a question about accent. So to him, he said that accents are never a problem. The problem is with our mouth movement and our lip movement. So he said that every language has its own set of mouth movement. The mouth movement that I'm using right now for English is of Urdu. That's why my accent sounds of Urdu.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly what I say. Every language has mouth movements. So when you learn a language, you have to learn those mouth movements. And the reason you have an accent is because you're using the vocabulary and grammar from one language, but you're using the mouth movements from your native language. And that's what
for
gives you an
most of the
accent.
people, here English is not their native language. It's just second or third for me. It's my third language.
Wow.
The fourth, yeah. So how do I learn the English set of mouth movements? Do I have
Okay.
to go to a speech pathologist for this, or
Well, I think it probably would help to at least get some private lessons if you could, but phonics is the thing I think you should focus on. Some people learn IPA and they try to learn pronunciation through IPA. I think IPA is too much work. But phonics is the secret. And here's the other secret. And this is something that I think your friend, Mr. Ving, probably doesn't know. The secret of learning any new movement, muscle memory, is what we're talking about. You need to learn muscle memory. And guess what? I'm a drummer. Drummers are experts at muscle memory. That's all we do is muscle memory. So let me teach you the secret of learning muscle memory more easily. The secret is exaggerate your movements. So when you try to learn something new, if your movements are too small, your brain can't see it. It can't understand what you're trying to do. It's too small of a movement. It's not a big enough signal to make your brain learn. But if you exaggerate the movements and make them big, it will feel awkward. To you, it will feel awkward, but it will give your brain something it can see. And it will say, oh, we're trying to learn something new. I see now. Your mouth is open really big. So I think that means I'm doing something new. So if you exaggerate your movements in the beginning when you learn, your brain will have a better, easier time understanding what your new movement is, right? And then what will happen is over time, it will be big and awkward in the beginning, but over time, the more you speak, that movement will become naturally smaller, but it will maintain its clarity. Okay, so in the beginning, you have to practice the vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U.
AEIOU?
Better, but I want you to make them separate. Put space between them. Do not do A, E, I, O, U. No. A, E, I, O, U. Separate. Okay?
AEIOU.
That was good. Now I want you to do it again, and I want you to make your mouth bigger, even bigger. Now, I can't see you, but if you make your mouth bigger, I will hear it. So I want you to try A-E-I-O-U.
AEIOU.
Tell me it doesn't sound better, everybody. Does it sound better?
Really?
Yeah, it does. It sounds better already, right? Now I want you to try the other sounds. There's a short vowel sound too, right? So we have the A-E-I-O-U, that's the long sound. Then we have the short sound. It's A, E, I, O, And I use hand movements to help me with this. Watch my hand movements. Ah, that's a big mouth. Look how big. It's open. Ah, ah, ah. Then we have that's a middle mouth. Ah, Then we have I. The I sound is a small mouth. So we have I. Ah, I. That's A-E-I. Ah, I. Big, middle, small. Okay? And then aw. Look how round. Aw. And then you. Okay? So, once you practice that, get that sounding very good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to combine those with the consonant sounds. For example, B, 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 ba, ba, ba. Now we take the B, 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 and we put it with the A, 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 and we're going to get ba, be, bi, ba, ba. Ba, be, bi, ba, ba. Then you do C. Ka, ke, ki, ka, ka. Then you do D. Da, de, di, da, da. Fa, fe, fi, fa, fa. Ga, ga, gi, ga, ga. Ha, he, hi, ha, ha. You can go through the whole alphabet with this and make your mouth big, and that will improve your accent.
Can you please teach me this A, E, I, O?
Almost, yes.
Can I try to
Make
do
it, make it small, slower, and separate them more. And big, 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 big. So when you're doing the A sound, I want you to pretend you are eating an apple, right? The A is just the same mouth position. If you want to bite an apple, you want to take a big bite of an apple, your mouth is big and open and wide and open, right? So watch my mouth. Ah, 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 ah. Just like when I take an apple. Right?
Are you saying A or Eh?
Ah, 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 ah. Yeah, that's ah, the short A sound. Ah, 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 like apple. Okay, so that's the big sound. Ah, ah, ah. Then we go to the middle one. Eh, eh, eh. And it's almost the same position.
That's the middle one.
Right, that's the middle one. Your mouth is not quite so open now, right? It's in the middle, right? So we have ah and eh. And then we have I. Look how small.
First we have A, then we have Eh, then we have E.
That was much better. Much, much better. Much, much better.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Now you just have to add the consonants, right? The B, 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 ba, 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 C, 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 ka, 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 right? And do those with it, right? I have a whole system. I have a whole... Yes. Ba, be, bi, ba, ba. Ba, be, bi,
Ba,
ba,
Be,
ba.
Be, Bo. What's the last one?
Ba.
What's the last one?
Ba. Like
Ba.
but. Like the word but. Ba.
Okay, Bo.
Yeah, so ba, be, bi, ba, ba. Ka, ke, ki, ka, ka. Da, de, di, da, da. Okay, that's how you do it. And if you do this every day for about a month, your mouth will learn. Now, one more trick, one more tip. Another thing you can do that will help your brain learn more or more easily is make the sound longer. I call it pulling the sound. So if you make it short, like ah, that's good, but think about it. It was only 1 second, so your brain could only see it for 1 second. But if you make it longer, ah, make them long, and now your brain will see that motion for a longer time. So it will have more time to learn, right?
I see.
So that's the way you need to do the sounds is you can do them short, but you can also try to pull them, and the longer you pull them, the more you'll have time to learn, okay?
Okay, that's a great tip. So,
Yeah, but you already improved just a little bit just right now, just by opening your mouth more. I could hear it. I don't even need to see it. I can hear it.
So we are learning here, okay? We are learning here.
That's right, we are.
Okay, my next question. So do
Okay.
you have anything else to say?
I'm sorry? No, that's it.
Do you have anything
No,
else to say?
go right ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I have one more question, and that's like when I join a conversation or when I start speaking, so I can't bring my emotions initially. I take my time 10 to 15 minutes, even in half an hour sometimes. Like when I start speaking, I have this one tone which I can't change. Even after trying so much, so hard, I can't change it. And eventually, when the topic moves on, moves ahead, then I start to bring emotions. Like I don't have the control over my voice. How can I have instant control over my voice? Like if I want to speak energetic, I can instantly speak energetic. I don't need to get a kickstart. Like if I want to speak energetic, so first of all, I would start speaking slowly. Then when I think that my mouth is when I'm ready, then I start speaking in the faster tone, in a more energetic way. But like if I want to start speaking energetically instantly, I can't do it.
Okay. Well, two things. First, you don't always have to speak energetically. Sometimes people think fast language is good language, and fast must mean that you're serious or you're better. But I disagree. I
Not just
disagree.
fast, but I can't say any emotions. Like it's very dull. My voice is very dull when I speak.
You sound fine right now.
Because I've been speaking a lot from about half an hour.
Okay.
Talks, that's why.
So you mean in the beginning when you first start, you feel like you're not smooth?
Yeah, whenever I go to college, so like even if I'm not sleepy, I have woken up early, I did my exercise, I'm fresh and fine. But like whenever I start to speak, so like my mouth isn't open.
Let me ask you a question. Is it because you don't remember the words to say, or is it because your mouth just feels lazy?
Yeah, the second one is a problem.
Okay,
with me.
now that's easy to fix. So that's easy to fix. In broadcasting like newscasters, right? People on the news like CNN or BBC or something. These people need to have good pronunciation and their mouths need to be awake, right? So they have a lot of exercises that they do before they start, before the camera comes on. Right before the camera comes on, they will move their mouth and do these exercises, like, for example, tongue twisters, right? So they will say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Or they will say, me me mamo moo, me me mamo moo, me me mamo moo, right? They're trying to get their mouth moving. They do all these exercises just for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe even just 1 minute. They just do something that's big and exaggerated and clear to make their mouth wake up. Okay? And that's what you can do too, is if you need to, go to a private little corner where nobody can see you and hear you for a minute and just quickly, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Really try to do it clearly, right? Find a few exercises you like. And there are many of them, okay? If you just type in mouth movement exercises for broadcast, I'm sure you'll find lots of exercises like that, okay? And you have to wake up your mouth. I have to do it sometimes here too. When I wake up in the morning and I start my lessons, you know, sometimes it's like 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, I'm tired. You know, I need coffee, and before I start, I might, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, or I'll just go through the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You know, I'll try to say them clearly just to practice moving my mouth. Okay.
Yes.
And wake it up.
I have tried this, and I got to know that there are some letters with which of which tongue twister I find very difficult, and they are letter P, B, M, and T.
Okay, so P and B are common problems for people in the Middle East and in India and Pakistan. So let me show you the difference between P and B. Hold on, I need one thing. Okay, so everybody, if you're having trouble with the P sound and the B sound, I'm going to show you how you can learn the proper way. Okay, so P and B are similar, okay, but the P, there's a couple of differences. P, if you look at my lips, to make a P sound, we curl the lips inside like this. Watch. P. And then when we say it we make it like a pop sound, right? And there's air. There's air that comes out. So that's why I have this tissue, so you can see when I say the P sound, P, P, P. Look at all that air. See all that air blowing the tissue? But when I say the B sound, watch the difference. B, B, B. No air. So B, you don't you don't curl the lips.
Is it B or is it P? Is it P or
the first one is the letter P. P, 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 pop, like the letter pop. You should practice the word pop. Okay, pop. And there's air.
Pop.
There's air that's coming out. So put your hand in front of your face and feel the air. Pop, pop.
Pop. Yeah, I can feel it.
Okay, and then if you can feel it, then you're doing a good P. All right, and your lips again, curl the lips in. P, P. Push that air out like a big puff of air. Right. Then there's the B sound. The B sound, you don't curl your lips. Watch. B, B. They're not curled. They're just together. Right. And then there's no air. No air. B, 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 B.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
And guess what? Look at this thing here. You see this thing here? This black thing? This is called a pop filter. It's called a pop filter because the letter P, when you say it into a microphone, that air sometimes makes it sound bad. P, P, P. That puff of air is. So that's why we have this. The puff of air won't go through here. P, P, P. That's called a pop filter. Okay? So that's why we call it a pop filter, because we don't want those pops of air, that puff of air. Okay? So that's the difference between P and B. Two things. One, P, you have to curl your lips and push out the air. And B, you don't curl your lips and there's no air.
Yeah, I just tried this and it's true. What about M and R? Oh, sorry, what about M and T?
M and T, well, you sound good when you say them.
But when I'm in a speech and I'm saying something which involves, which has a word with T or M, not always, but sometimes I fumble on them.
Give me an example. Give me a word with T.
Let me think of it.
Like, say the word test.
Text.
Test.
Test.
Okay, so you need more air with your T also. The T also has air. It pushes air. Watch. T. 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 There's some air popping, right? So you need to do that. Now watch my mouth position. Watch my mouth. I want you to make the mouth position like the letter E. E, E, E. Okay? So look at my mouth, everybody. I'm making the sound of the E. E, E. And then I just put the T on the front of it. T, E, T, E, T, T. So blow that T sound harder. T.
T.
That's better. That's it. That's the sound. T. It's tea time.
It's tea time.
Much better. Already big improvement. And remember what I said. Every time you have a T word, exaggerate. Make it really strong.
It's tea time. I have to say it louder. I have to increase the length of the word.
That's right. It's tea time.
It's tea time.
Much better. Much better. Okay, and so that was the T. And what was the other word? The M? M is problem?
M, yeah.
Okay, give me a word that's a problem for you with an M.
Peter was mumbling while like when I said mumble.
Okay, that sounds fine. Mumble. That sounds
But when
fine.
I was being tongue twisted, at that time I faced difficulty when speaking with the word.
Well, guess what?
start with M.
The word mumble is a lot like a very similar Indian city, Mumbai. Right? And it's the same sound. Mumbai, mumble. It's the same thing. So M is really not different in your language compared to mine. M. It starts with the position of the mouth is the short E sound. Remember that middle sound? Right? We had eh. So the position of the mouth is a middle and then M.
Okay.
Yeah, and make it longer. Pull it. Okay? That was perfect. Okay? That was perfect. See, look, this is just mouth movements. That's all we're doing is mouth movements. I'm just correcting your mouth movements, and now it sounds better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's really improved. I can feel it.
You should, because I can hear it. So it's definitely improving. Okay. So, Shawais, I'm going to let you go, but it was great to talk to you, and I'm glad you got some improvement there. And come back and see me again sometime, okay? I'm glad I got a chance to answer your questions.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, take care, my friend.
Take care.
Okay, yeah, so, if this other guy, Ving, or whoever it is on YouTube, sounds like he's been on YouTube a while, and he's probably pretty smart, and he sounds like he's saying a lot of the same things I'm saying, or I'm saying the same things he's saying. But the one difference is, again, because I'm a drummer, I have a very, very good understanding of how your brain learns movements. That's what I know, is how the brain learns muscle movements. So that's why I understand how to correct these things. Okay? All right. Daichi is still waiting. Wow, amazing. And it's so late there, too. Daichi, are you there? Hello, Daichi. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. You're in Japan. Are you in Tokyo or where?
I'm in Japan. I'm in Fukuoka.
Fukuoka. Okay. All right. Great. And what can I do for you today? Do you have a question for me or something I can help you with?
Let me do some self-introduction real quick. I am a sophomore in college, and I've been learning English for around one to 2 years roughly. Then these days, I'm trying to be like an American, like who speak English as their native language, but I'm kind of like a perfectionist. So I'm kind of like feeling still nervous
Okay.
for speaking English
Okay.
in front of people. Like, yeah, I've been interacting with exchange students. Yeah, but I'm still feeling nervous. And
I understand.
actually, today I had a presentation in front of exchange students since I'm taking an international course. Then I had to make a presentation on Soseki Natsume, like who is one of the greatest novelists in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the time, all of my teammates, except for me, were from the US, so their English was really good. So I can't stop comparing and like.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. So let me tell you this. First of all, you sound good. Relax. You sound fine. Do you sound like you're from Japan? Yeah, you do. Because you know why? You are from Japan, and that's fine. So being from Japan doesn't mean that your language is not good. And I want to remind you of something that you should know. Wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi.
Yeah, and what is wabi-sabi? Wabi-sabi, if you guys don't know, it's the Japanese concept that that really perfect doesn't really exist, and perfect is really only perfect if it has one really perfect flaw, right? So, for example, when I was a boy, when I was a young kid, there was a model, a famous woman named Cindy Crawford. She was a supermodel. She was really famous in the 1980s and early 90s, right? She was beautiful, gorgeous woman, but she had a mole on her face right here. She had this big mole on her face, and that was why she was famous. The one mole, that was her wabi-sabi. That was her wabi-sabi. It was this. It was an imperfection that made her beautiful. So, wabi-sabi. One thing I love about the concept is because it basically means there is no perfect. Perfect doesn't really exist. It's a mythical place that you can never reach. You shouldn't stop trying, but you need to understand that's the funny thing about perfection. It's something you should always seek, but know you'll never get. Understand? So it's something you always try, right? I'm a drummer, I'm a musician. We always try to be better. We always try to work on it and get better, but we're never going to be perfect. We're never going to be able to do everything. That's not ever going to
So
happen.
like the perfection is like a rainbow.
Yeah,
Like
that's exactly right.
Even though we're trying to catch up rainbow, we
you'll
can't
never
reach.
find it. That's exactly right. You can see it, you can appreciate it, but you'll never touch it or get to it. Yeah. So work towards it and keep working on it. But also, Daichi, you need to remember this. This is the problem you're having. It's not that your language is bad. The problem you have is that you don't remember that a really important part of language is confidence.
Confident.
And if you lose your confidence, you're hurting your language, right? So language has power because if you have confidence, people will listen to you. But if I come on this microphone and I sound like, well, I think you can try this, and I don't know, maybe it will work. I don't know, maybe. I'm not sure if it will work. Nobody's going to listen to me if I sound like that as a teacher, right? I have to have confidence in my words, right? Language is a performance, right? And you're comparing yourself to these other people, but another reason why language is like music, there are many, many drummers in this world. I'm a drummer. And if you notice, there are millions of drummers, and I could compare myself to them, and I used to when I was a boy. I used to say, oh, I'm not as good as that guy. He's a master. I'm not as good. But at some point in time, you're comparing two things that can't be compared. There's only one you. There's only one voice that is your voice. So when you compare yourself to your American friends, it's not a fair comparison. You know, they're not like you and you are not like them. And you're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to be. You're you. Be you. Don't be them. Okay? So you can appreciate their skill level. You can appreciate what talent they have, and you can want to improve yours. But don't tell yourself that you're bad just because they have a skill you don't. You have skills they don't have. Do they speak Japanese as well as you do? So you have a talent that they don't have. You have a skill that they don't have, right? So, yeah, confidence is a crucial, crucial part of language, man. If you want to be a great speaker, you have to have confidence. Nobody will believe you if you don't have confidence. Okay? So, relax. You're fine. I have lots of Japanese friends, and your English is better than most. Okay? So next time, go forth and be in front of the class and believe in yourself, man. You know what we do in America? You know, right before we have like a big competition or a big fight or something, we put on a song that makes us want to, you know, fight, right? So when I was a boy, there was a famous movie called Rocky, and it was about the boxer. Right? And he was a boxer named Rocky. Sylvester Stallone was the boxer named Rocky. And there was one song that was in that movie. It was called The Eye of the Tiger. The Eye of the Tiger. You have to have the Eye of the Tiger. And it had this music that came on with a guitar. It was like dun, 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 dun. And it made you feel like, oh, I want to go do something, you know, like I want to go. That makes me feel powerful, this music. It makes me feel like I want to go win something. Do that. Give yourself something before you go do your presentation that psychs you up and makes you feel like you have confidence. Okay? Find a song. Find a song for you. Eye of the Tiger is that's the song that comes from my history. I grew up in the 80s, and so that's the song from my past. But find one song that speaks to you that makes you feel like, I'm going to kick ass. Okay? All right, that's what you need to do.
Thank you. If I'm being honest, I'm about to cry.
Oh, that's nice.
I won't, but...
Relax. Crying is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
I don't want to cry in front of a lot of people. Actually.
Well, guess what? Guess what? If you do, I will respect you more. If you do. And I will respect you more because crying in front of people takes a lot of courage. So if you have the courage to cry in front of people, you have the courage to get up and do your presentation. Okay, so relax. Crying is a good thing. It means you're happy you found an answer that you were looking for. Okay? So relax. It's okay. It's a good thing. Crying is not always a bad thing. Actually, it's mostly never a bad thing. Crying is usually a good thing. Okay? So don't make crying feel bad.
Yeah, but actually, one of my main goals to learn English to speak and to get how like native speakers speak English.
Okay, but Daichi, not every native speaker speaks well. You already speak better. You already speak better than some people who are natives. You already do right now. You speak better than some people who live here and have been born here. All right, so forget about speaking like a native speaker. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to find 5 people who you admire the way they speak, 5 or maybe 10. It's going to take some research. You have to go online and think about it. Figure out who speaks really well. And when you hear them speak, you say, oh, wow, I want to speak like that. Find 5 people like that or 10 people like that and use them as your models of what you want to try to be like. All right?
All right.
Yeah. Don't just listen to anybody. Find the best.
I will take the advice that you gave the last person. Like, I will try to exaggerate the movement, like not the mouth movement.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. You know, Japanese is like that too. Chinese people, Japanese people, and Hindi speakers, they all have one thing in common, which is that those languages are mostly small mouth. And so because they're mostly small mouth, that's why it's awkward to speak with a big mouth for you, right? And most people, they don't even think about it. They like big mouth, small mouth. I don't know, but it's true though. That's when I speak Chinese, and if I speak Chinese, I have to make a smaller mouth. Okay, and even when I use, I know a few words in Japanese, and if I say them, I don't say arigato. I say arigato. Right?
Yeah.
So my mouth is small. It's not arigato, right? That's big. That's a weird thing, right? That's Japanese with an American mouth, right? Yeah. So anyway, you're doing fine, Daichi. You're doing fine. Believe in yourself. Find a good song. Keep working on it. And don't compare yourself because there's only one you. Okay? The only person you need to compare yourself to, there's only one person you should compare yourself to. Whoever you were yesterday, be better today. Okay?
Got it.
You compare yourself to yesterday, you, not anyone else. That's it. Okay? All right, Daichi. Well, good luck to you. You're doing fine.
I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Okay?
It's really pleasant to meet you.
It was my pleasure too. So come back and see me again, okay?
Yeah.
Let me know how your next presentation goes. I want to know, okay? All right. Take care, my friend. I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Okay, guys, it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. I really think I need to go. I'm going to try to help Farah because Farah has been waiting, and Neymar. Let me see if I can try to help Farah and Neymar, and then I have to go. Farah and Neymar, do you want to come on stage? Oh, hello, Neymar. Here, I'll turn off the camera for you. There you go. It's off. Okay, so yeah, let's start with Neymar, and then I'll do Farah after, okay? I'll try to go as fast as I can. So quickly, Neymar, tell me, how can I help you today?
Hello, teacher. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Teacher, I have a main problem that I'm really struggling with it. I think it's my confidence, because when I'm working or when I'm walking, I try to thinking in English. You know, when I work, I memorize a word and make sentences in my mind. But when I come to class and when speak to public, but I can't remember, or I remember, but I can't tell this word.
Okay. So when you say you can't do it, tell me, how many times did you try? Did you try 5 times, 10 times, 100 times? How many times did you try to do that?
2 or 3 times
Okay.
in a day.
All right. So here's my answer. Many people come here and they say, I tried to do it, but I can't. And what I ask them is, how many times did you try? Did you try 5 times, 10 times, 100 times? And they'll tell me, well, I tried 2 or 3 times, or I tried 10 times, or even I tried 50 times. And they think they tried a lot. But my answer is, if you didn't try 1,000 times, then you didn't try. Okay,
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes you guys come here and you say, I tried to do it, but I can't do it. But you only tried 2 times. You only tried 5 times. Nobody is a genius after 2 times. Nobody is a master after 5 times. So that's what we say. In English, we have a quote for that. The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried.
Okay.
Okay, so you just need to do it more. If you do it more, you will remember. And remember what I also say about words. Words are like people. If you spend time with people, you will remember them. If you spend time with words, you will remember them. So you're doing the right thing, but you have to do it more. And eventually you will remember. Okay, I promise. It just, you know, Neymar, what is the difference between intelligence and wisdom? Do you know the difference between intelligence and wisdom?
I think, I'm not sure, but I think intelligence, someone who gets or understand your lesson, or how can I say, easily.
Okay.
Like they know everything.
Okay.
And wisdom, someone, they are intelligent naturally, I think.
Okay, good guess, but not quite. Intelligence and wisdom are the same thing. The only difference is wisdom has one more thing. Wisdom has intelligence and time.
Yeah.
You can't be wise if you didn't grow, if you didn't learn, if you haven't lived. Okay? We don't call babies wise, right? A baby is not wise because a baby hasn't lived long enough to be wise, right? But the old man you see, you say he's smart and wise because he's lived a long time. So you need time, my friend. That's the one thing you're missing is you've done it and you have the right idea, but you have to do it more to find the real effect. Okay?
Exactly. But my last question, that how can you explain or describe my English? You know, I've been learning for 7 months, but I don't have, as I've already told you, I don't have enough time in general.
Right. For 7 months, you're doing really, really well. For 7 months, that's amazing. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing really, really well for 7 months. That's incredible. So keep working on it. Okay, Neymar?
Okay. And I'm going to thank you for your good advice. You advised me very good. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Them.
I'm glad it helped you. I'm glad it helped you.
So much.
You're welcome, Neymar. I need to get to Farah, but thank you so much, Neymar. Come back and see me again, okay? Take care, my friend. Okay, Farah, thank you for being patient. Thank you for being patient, Farah. Are you there? Oh, Farah, your microphone is off. Can you turn on your microphone? There we go. Hello, Farah.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Thank you for being
are you?
patient. I'm fine.
Yeah. I I want to ask. I'm sorry because I'm so beginner. I'm not fluent in English,
It's okay.
and maybe if you talk to me, maybe I'm not understand some words. Yeah,
That's okay.
and maybe I don't know how to talk in English
You're doing
for some
fine.
words. Yeah.
You're doing fine. Relax. You're doing fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a question
I
for me
want.
or something?
Yeah. I have a question. Um, what I need to do in I if I want to talk in English, but I don't have many vocab and I don't know some words when I'm talk in English.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
yep.
first thing I will tell you is you should try to build your vocabulary more, learn more words. I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to give you a website that you can use that's a great free website. Okay. It's called Games to Learn English.com. Games2learnenglish.com. It's a free website. You can use it on your phone or on your computer. And it has games that are fun to play, and they can teach you vocabulary words. They have a lot of vocabulary words, right? And grammar and pronunciation and adverbs and adjectives and prepositions, all of that. And it's just games. They're fun little games to play that you can do every day. Okay, they're kids games, but kids games work for adults too. It doesn't matter if it's a kid's game. It only matters if it works, right? So that is a great place for you to go to practice. And there's another website you can probably use too. It's called ESL Fast. And this website has about 3,000 short stories for beginners to intermediate level. So it's not hard. They're simple, they're easy, and they're short. So you can go to that website and go to the reading level 1 or reading level 2 or maybe reading level 3 and try to read them. And they have a recording too, so you can hear the pronunciation. Okay. And you can learn some new vocabulary and improve your grammar. And it's quick and easy and simple. 5 minutes. Okay. Those two websites will help you a lot, Farah, and they're free.
Yeah, and I want to ask how. Okay, I think I'm so sometimes I think I'm so very lazy to what to see how to learn in English, how to talk in English. And I think I want to practice speaking only and with another people. And I'm so very lazy to watch what to watch, to talk in English, how to understand in English because I feel if I practice with another people in English means I talk in English is enough for me, but I don't have friends or people to talk in English because my friend use my language.
Okay. So
Every
let me
day.
ask you a question, Farah. You live in Malaysia.
Yes.
Do you speak any other languages? Do you speak any Chinese or anything?
No,
No?
I don't speak any language. I'm
Just Malaysian.
speak in Bahasa. Yeah.
Okay, Basa. Okay. All right. So what I was going to say is, Farah, if you practice thinking in English, that's the best kind of practice you can do. And you don't need any help. You don't need anyone for that. You just need to think in English. So I learned Chinese, but I live in the United States. So I can't practice speaking Chinese very easily here. But if I cook my dinner and I think about it with Chinese, I'm practicing my Chinese. If I watch TV and I think about it in Chinese, then I'm practicing my Chinese. Do you understand?
Oh, okay. I
So
understand.
you can practice a lot more if you just use your English mind every day. Okay? A little bit every day. And if you can't use it, if you think of something in your native language that you can't say in English, you need to write that down because that's your homework. That's what you have to learn how to say. Okay? So language is difficult, Farah. And here is what I want you to say. What I want to say to you is language is like music, Farah. And everybody's trying to make beautiful music. And when you have time by yourself, that's when you can really work on it to make it really beautiful. So a musician, we first have to practice by ourselves to make it sound good at home. And then we go out and play for the public and let the people hear it. But we have to practice at home first because it won't sound good, right? It won't sound good if I just go out and I don't practice. So Farah, you have to think about language just like music. You can't be lazy because if you don't practice at home, it won't sound good when you perform. Okay? So practice is important. And you're right, it's hard. But that's why, Farah, I gave you those 2 websites. And those websites are actually fun. They're fun. They're not painful. It's not difficult. They're games. It's easy. So, Farah, sometimes people are lazy about learning because they think learning is like torture. It's hard. It's something that's not fun, right? But, Farah, the best learners find a way to make it fun. They find a way to make it interesting. And I'm telling you, go to that website and you'll have fun. If you don't have fun, then I owe you a lunch. If you go to that website and you don't have fun, then I owe you lunch. All right? Because you're going to have fun. Go to the website and try it. You'll have fun. It won't feel like work. It won't feel like, oh, this is boring. I don't like this. It'll feel like you're learning and you're growing and it's fun. Okay? So don't, don't just say you're lazy. Remember that sometimes people are lazy because they didn't try to find the fun way.
Yes, yeah.
Okay? So I gave you a fun way. I want you to try it. Okay?
Yeah, I think I want to try after I'm
do.
off stage.
I promise you're going to have fun. You're going to have fun, okay? All right, Farah, I need to go because I'm really hungry. It's almost lunchtime. Well, it's after lunchtime. But thank you so much, Farah, for coming, and thank you for being patient and waiting for me. I know it was a long time to wait, but thank you so much for being patient. I appreciate it. Okay?
Thank you too for inviting me, and I'm so very lucky to talk with you for today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, come back and see me again, okay?
Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay, Hilal, I'm sorry, but no, it's time for me to go, Hilal. I gotta go. You have waited a lot. Everybody has waited a lot. Hilal, you gotta come earlier. I've been here for 2 hours and 34 minutes, and I never saw your hand up. Okay? You come at the end, and now you want me to stay. I'm sorry. Come earlier. Come earlier, okay? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm tired. I gotta go. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes I've been here talking. I need a break. All right? So come back and see me again, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys learned something. We started by just having fun conversations about life, but we also talked a lot about some fun ways to learn English, right? And some better ways to learn English. So I started 2.5 hours earlier. Okay, so I'm not sure what time that was, but yeah, what is it? 11, 10, like 10 o'clock. About 10 o'clock is when I started. A little bit after 10 o'clock, my time, and then now it's 12:45. So I've been here for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Okay. Repeat this chat for training. Well, guess what, Svetlana? You're in luck. If you can figure out how to use YouTube, this is on YouTube. right now. So after I end, this live stream will be uploaded to YouTube, and you can go back and check it again and watch it as many times as you want. All right? All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for participating. Thank you for following. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening wherever you live in the world. Come back and see me again sometime, okay? I know it's blocked in your country. I know. I can't do anything about that, Alexandra. I'm sorry. But I don't know. Maybe you can do what the Chinese people do. I don't know. They find a way. Maybe you can find a way also. All right? Okay, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.